Let's now talk about manifestness and markedness, which are important terms, are also important concepts in the relevance theory, which we all know is a popular theory in contemporary pragmatics. Manifestness is a degree to which an assumption or proposition is accessible to a hearer or to a party in a conversation, and he could make certain meaning out of it. So manifestness is actually the degree to which a certain information is accessible based on a certain proposition. So it focuses on looking into how much or whether a person is capable of getting the meanings out of a certain proposition or not, is capable to make an assumption about some statement being false or true. It is not necessary that all propositions has to be true as far as manifestness is concerned. There could be false statements, but the basic stance here is that the listener should be able to understand it to a certain degree. And the degree to which he or she is able to understand it is the manifestness. Therefore, manifestness is a weaker form as compared to knowledge, because knowledge is slightly more perfect or true in a typical pragmatic or semantic way. Manifestness is, as I said earlier, is a matter of degree. The more likely an assumption is to be entertained by a listener or party to a conversation, the more highly manifest it is. In order to elaborate it further, let's have a look at the cognitive environment. So a set of assumptions that is manifest to an individual is his individual cognitive environment. But if those assumptions are shared by other people involved in a conversation, so we can call it a shared cognitive environment. But if there are certain assumptions which are shared, but they are shared by certain people in a conversation, we will call those assumptions their mutual cognitive environment, because this is how they would build meanings out of what is said. Mutual manifestness plays an important role in the meaning-making process according to relevance theory, and it has a role which is analogous to the role of knowledge or background knowledge, or we could say mutual knowledge, which is termed so in traditional pragmatics. It explains how speaker and hearer can cooperate with each other, can coordinate on the interpretation of a certain utterance. Based on their mutual knowledge, people construct the meanings of various statements, and this is how we see the concept of manifestness also. Markedness is a quality of a speech which is or an expression which we can say is out of ordinary. When an expression is unusual, out of ordinary, we call it a marked expression. And this is very popular in contemporary pragmatics in relation to the bifurcation between marked and unmarked expressions. Unmarked expressions are those which are ordinary, usual. We use normal words for normal things in our life. But when we use some extraordinary term or a different term from the usual for a certain thing which is in a regular use, that is a marked expression. For example, we can see kine is a marked expression for cattle. Cattle is ordinary and relatively unmarked expression, whereas kine is a special, unusual, and marked expression in pragmatics. Now I tell you why this is important to differentiate between marked and unmarked expressions. It is an important feature of the theory of Roman Jacobson also, because he believes that there are certain words which are more unusual than other words, or in other words, there are certain words which are more usual than other words. And as I said, it is important to distinguish between marked and marked expressions, because many linguists believe that wherever there is a marked expression, there has to be a certain special meaning intended to be conveyed by the speaker. So that is why it is important to differentiate between marked and unmarked expressions, so that we could try to understand those special meanings which are intended by the speaker, and that always lie at the core of pragmatic understanding of an expression.